Hi everyone, it's Julianne Romanillo. I'm coming to you from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Today is February the 9th. I always have to think about that. And I want to make just a quick video of things to point out to people who have no clue what's going on. I don't know, I'm feeling a sense of urgency about our situation. Here in Tulsa, I posted yesterday that our mayor and some other city councilors and some kind of a task force are going to Las Vegas to look at new technology that is going to enable law enforcement to utilize 24/7 monitoring of the people of Tulsa. And the Tulsa World article even suggests that they can tap into personal phones and, ring cameras that are on your doorstep, probably your car, the rear view camera of your car. And they're going to use this 24/7 real-time data stream to make sure that the citizens of Tulsa are all safe. Okay? That's very disturbing, and I have absolutely no idea why people are not questioning this. It's unbelievable to me. Also, I make a drive downtown Tulsa several times a day, actually, and the spy towers, that's what my kids and I call them, the spy towers that are going up they're so large, they are so obviously intended to manage and control us. I have no idea why people are tolerating this. So anyway, I think those things are giving rise to this sense of urgency that I have about our situation. It's weighing on me, just personally. And so I thought I would just make a quick little video of things to point out. Number one, the surveillance, sorry, I'm using my kids' board here, surveillance infrastructure. And this is across the board. This is surveillance that is, that you can see. Oh, my husband just got home. He doesn't know I'm making a video right now. We'll see if he figures it out. Hey baby, I'm live right now. Sorry everybody, with my kids' whiteboard here. If you want to close those doors, you can. See the things that happen when you're an amateur. Okay, so what I think that we can point out to people who are not aware of the implementation of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, the social impact economy, the system of social credit scoring, we have to point out to them that while we have been in lockdown, or while the economy has been crippled, or during this strange time of transition into the new abnormal, we're seeing the rollout everywhere of surveillance infrastructure, and these technologies should be disturbing to people. We have cameras on every single light post, or traffic signals. We have, there are probably cameras in the regular upgraded lighting too. The capability of that new street lighting, the smart street lighting. Allison Hamer sent a link to a website that details what that can do. So they might be more than just the traffic signals, but just to keep it very visible and clear to people, point out, every intersection that you go through is going to be able to monitor your license plate, your vehicle. They're going to pick up on patterns every day, where people are going. They say that it's to control the flow of traffic. They say it's to reduce pedestrian deaths, and they want to have a zero pedestrian deaths. Let me tell you, I was hit by a car. I was pregnant. It was a truck, actually. It was a large truck, and I was crossing the street, and I flew about 15 feet. And thank God I wasn't hurt, but I would not ever wish to limit people's mobility in order to prevent that. And so they're going to use those sorts of excuses to explain away the surveillance infrastructure, but deep down people know that it's wrong. My kids know that it's wrong. They see the cameras. It's unnatural. It's unnatural to spy on people the way that they're doing. It's unnatural to have these large, huge metal structures sticking out from the ground at every intersection. We have the rollout of the fiber optic cable, and I'm not sure exactly how that's related to 5G, but you could see the installations on apartment buildings of these huge antennas. You can see the installations of the wires, and they have the jump down cables that are going up everywhere. They're going up in the middle of the night. You never see crews working on the streets installing this stuff. It's all happening in a clandestine fashion. So we've got to point that out, not only in the city, but at the workplace. Now, I'm not working outside of the home. I'm doing this, and I have my kiddos. But if you are working in corporate America, you know right now that you're having to do a ton of professional development that is training you to be diverse, equitable, inclusive, all of these different buzzwords, right? And the technology, the software capability that is contained in the apps that we're using now and will be using, it is able to monitor your emotional state. It's able to monitor your response time to different questions, whether you hesitate, if you're blinking enough, if you look agitated. All of that is giving your employer data about your stability as an employee. People should be concerned about that. People should absolutely refuse this ruse of routine testing, and we have to put this in people's faces and explain to them that this is not about safety. It is about surveillance. It is about controlling what you think, who you are, what beliefs you have. It is about making your personal time off the clock non-existent. You're always going to be on the clock. You're going to be owned by a corporation. So we have to point this out. We have to say this kind of monitoring technology in the workplace, in the school, in houses of worship even, it's got to go. And that conversation has to happen everywhere. Now, I'm shameless. I talk to every single person that I run into, and I've lost a lot of friends that way, and quite frankly, I just don't care, because when you see where this is going, you don't care. If you really understand it, you would happily give up a friend if you could maybe make someone aware of what we're about to head into. So point this out, surveillance infrastructure, like on the city level, also in the workplace. I don't know if you can see this. And let's see, elections, politics. I think that we have to sort of work with what we've got, and if people believe in the legitimacy of our constitutional system, I think that you have to work with that. I think that if we're talking about waking up normies, then it's not going to help to go around saying, oh, well, in 1871, the Constitution was practically abolished and we're the corporation of the United States. Okay, whatever. That doesn't matter to most people. The common belief about our political constitutional system, that does matter, and that matters to the social engineers too, and that is why they have to run their programs through the existing infrastructure. They're not out and out revolutionaries, you know. They're working from within the systems that we have because our belief in them matters. So I would say we need to find a way to point out the flaws of our system without discouraging people about acting, about their power to act. I mean, I know people are going to disagree with me on that, but that's sort of my perspective on it, is that we have to use the people's belief about what we're owed by the government, which is our creation. We have to use that to our advantage because the social engineers are definitely using it to their advantage. So what do? We have to point out that we have, especially at the federal level, we've had a sham election. Okay, now whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, it doesn't matter. I mean, we've had sham elections all the way going back to Bush v. Gore. So you can pick your party, pick your villain if you wish to do that. But we have to point out that these are serious flaws. No one's coming back to save us. Trump's not coming back to save us. Newsflash, he's part of it. He's totally in with the Zionist cabal, and, you know, whatever he's doing on social media, some other social site, it's all a sham. Come on, the guy's a reality television star, you know? So we've got to give up on that. We've got to sort of assume our own power back, and we have to show people that the way that the system is being worked out in practice is utterly flawed. So all of those ideas that we have about the protections that we're afforded through the Constitution, we have to appropriate those into ourselves as a people. And we're going to have to be really scrappy and courageous, and we're going to have to do things that none of us in our lifetime thought that we were going to have to do. But the starting point to that, because we need numbers in order to do it, the starting point is to help people understand that these things here really are not working out in any manner that can be considered in accordance with the law, the written law, or the natural law. I guess that's probably a harder one, but we have to start the conversation about that, because as long as people have so much faith in this system to change things, they're going to be stuck in the left-right divide, and we're not going to get anywhere, okay? And we're certainly not going to get the kind of action that we need. And I think you all know what I'm talking about, what we need. So point out the surveillance infrastructure, the problems with elections for the past 20 years, longer, I mean, you know, you can go as far back as you want. Politics, let's see. We also have to, talk about jobs. I mean, we have to talk about what the fourth industrial revolution is. People need to learn it so that they can tell other people, because no one is going to have work. No one's going to have work. That's one reason why they're putting up the surveillance infrastructure. It's because we're going to be broke and we're going to have nothing to do. So they have to make sure that in that free time of anxiety, of depression, of desperation, we don't cause a big inconvenient insurrection, right? That's why you have to have the surveillance infrastructure. It's not only about like social impact, investing, and making big bets on our future. It's also about just controlling us. So we have to explain to people that in this 4IR world, you are only going to have certain industries that have already been pre-approved by your regional development association. You need to learn about those organizations. I think it's MPOs, like Municipal Planning Organization or Master Planning Organization. It's a regional authority, regional development. It's all the Agenda 21 stuff. You're going to have to learn that so that you can talk about it with people. If you follow my page, I would urge you to really be confident that you can share the kind of information that I share just as well as I can, okay? More people have to share it. We have to put all of these topics into the mainstream discourse, and I don't know how we do that besides use social media, use people, use opportunities that you run in, or opportunities that you have to speak to other people in person, whether it's at a hair salon or going to get groceries or pumping gas or whatever people do. We have to be talking about this so that it's not weird to bring up the fact that no one's going to have a job. Like, people need to prepare for this, and we need to show them, okay, here in your area, here's what's happening with, say the manufacturing industry. If you're in the manufacturing industry, you need to be aware that we have new plants opening up that are going to use robotics instead of human workers. We need to educate people about the education system and say, you know what? Okay, if you're a teacher now and you're not complying with this, or if you are complying with that, here are your prospects for future employment. They're looking grim. We need to talk to law enforcement officers. I've talked to a couple of policemen, and they just seem sort of like, oh yeah, I know it's bad. The hedge funds, they're bad, right? I want to say, you personally are not going to have work because of all of the cameras that are rolling out, because of all of the night scope robots that are rolling out. I have a little screenshot that I often post that says robots don't, it's like robots don't fuss, robots don't get sick, robots don't do this. It's very clear that the goal of the program that we're facing is to replace human beings with machines. And so we have to show the normies that, okay, if you're doing some kind of work on a computer or an iPad, if you're just typing things in, you're replaceable. You were replaceable probably 10 years ago, but they're just sort of waiting till all the pieces are in play to roll it out. If you're a doctor, you're replaceable. If you're a nurse, you're replaceable. They're already doing it. If you are an attorney, you are replaceable. I have graphics that show this. If you are an HR manager at a mid-sized corporation, you are replaceable. So after you do the dirty work of enforcing all of these silly tests and the stinger and all of that, you're going to be replaced too. So many professions are going to be replaced. And actually, I just posted a little interview with a futurist, and she talks about how software programmers are going to be replaced. There's already an AI that you just speak to, and it's going to program things. So when your children are learning all of this STEM junk that's not real engineering, it's not theoretical mathematics, it's nothing. And they think that they're going to learn to be a programmer somehow. It's not true. The AI is going to take all of that unless we say no. Now, there are more of us than there are of them, but there are very few people who really get it. And there are even fewer people who are loud about it. So we have to get loud. We have to say, you're going to lose your job if you comply. There is no hope in staving this off and saving your own paycheck. It's easy for me to talk. I'm not working right now. Like I said, I'll probably never work again. But if I were working, and if I were, say, working for a power company that was installing a lot of fiber optic cable, I'm just telling you right now, I would find ways to sabotage that. I'm saying this on a video online, knowing that it's all monitored. Okay, but maybe because I don't have a job, I have a little bit of protection to say those things. I would sabotage. Like human beings, we've got to get scrappy. We have to not be afraid to do wild and crazy things because social credit is coming. Okay? Over here in the States, I think, people understand the term social credit and then they think of China, and I think that that's useful because it gets a proper fear of tyrannical top-down control. It gets that sort of proper fear in their mind, it presents it to their attention. But here, you're not going to know that you're signing up or being signed up for a program of social credit scoring because they use a little bit different language. It's the language of human capital, right? And human resources. And everyone's sort of used to those terms because they are used widely in the business world. And so we've become numb to them, right? In a way that we're not numb to social credit. Okay, so if you read my posts at all, I would say you have to educate people about how social credit scoring is being set up. I mean, we're being trained on it with these, masks that people wear. I'm proud to say I've never worn one. Now I don't want to criticize people who have been in a desperate situation and have had to. Like, I thank God I haven't. But for anyone who's had a choice, and you've done it to get into a shop or whatever, we've got to stop that right now. It is training people to comply with, some sort of arbitrary qualification in order to gain access to something that you should have access to just by virtue of being a member of this society, by virtue of being a human being, whatever. So, we're seeing the rollout of social credit in things like what you're willing to do to gain a privilege. And then, of course, this is tied to, I think I maybe wasn't very clear about precisely how that works. But anyway, we've got to talk about digital ID. Okay, go to the website, biometricupdate.com, and just